All right, how your thinking leads to eating, and we're gonna talk about dieting. So remember when we go back to like videos 1 and 2, we learned a lot about how your lower brain is there to protect you from future pain, death, and death, of course, we've talked about it can be literal, like literally dying, or it can be the figurative kind of death. And this is, I remember having to weigh in middle school and literally feeling like I was dying inside. Like, please God, please let there be a tornado drill. I don't want to have to step on the scale in front of all these people knowing I'm the heaviest person in this room. Like literally, I felt like I could be nauseously sick. I remember that. That is deep, people, like really. And I know I'm not the only one. I know you're here because you have had experiences like that, right? Like the idea of weighing in somewhere in front of other people, your weight has always been an issue for you. This is like a very tender underbelly kind of feeling, and it is like death. It really is. It's akin to that. So every time your lower brain is, you know, seeing things that might be problematic, it's making plans to fix it for you. It's so wonderful what it's trying to do. It like, okay, it goes, oh, you know what? Your weight's up a little bit. You go see the doctor. The doctor says your weight's up a little bit. Right away, what does it do? It starts to spiral. Oh, we need to get you on a diet. We need to do something. We need to go find a good diet to get on, right? Or, oh, my friend just lost some weight. She's looking really good. You know, I really need to lose some weight. Let me go find a good diet to get on. You might have seen some photos from 6 years ago that popped up on Facebook. I was so thin then. Oh man, I need to find a good diet to get on so I can get back there. So what your lower brain is constantly doing, it's taking in all this information. It knows your very sensitive areas about weight. And as soon as it becomes aware of the fact that you might be getting into a realm that you're uncomfortable with, it immediately goes into planning, analyzing, searching out information to fix the problem. Here's where this all goes sideways. It then starts to construct a list of rules. Now, I did a video called You Create the Rules, You Break the Rules, this is where the drama comes from, right? This is all coming from the lower brain. It wants to fix it so you can have success, so you cannot have that figurative death that we talked about. And it's going to create like this very long list of all these things you got to do. Okay, you got to get in 10,000 steps a day, got to drink this amount of water, got to eat these foods, got to be on this diet, should be losing X amount of pounds a week. It starts to try to fix it with this micromanaging list. And then what inevitably happens is life, right? We don't stick really well to these regimented things. Like if we historically look back, your lower brain goes through this cycle probably many times in a year. And then you try to stick to what the lower brain's telling you to do. And then inevitably, for most of us, we binge or extremely overeat food. We feel like we failed. It's another time in our situation. And then we just kind of abandon everything. But we don't have to do this. We can actually see it for what it is. My lower brain was tripped up by those pictures on Facebook today. I went to the doctor, my weight got brought up, really sensitive subject. I see my brain is spiraling right now for a diet for me to go on. It wants to make up all these rules. It's trying to help me, but inevitably this process never works. Hence where my whole discussion from day one with Half Size Me has been about habit change. Because what it is when we go on a diet, when we try to have this really regimented list of rules, I realized every day started the same. It was Groundhog Day. Every day started the same. I was going to be super good. I was going to do all these things, and then it didn't happen. And in a weird way, right, it always ended the same with me overeating or binge eating on sweets and treats and things like that. So I just kind of chose not to go into that lower. I didn't understand it like I'm explaining it to you today, but inherently I got it on a very fundamental level that cycle that I had been in was not helpful, right? Saying Heather is going to stick to this really strict eating plan, not have treats every day, was inevitably setting me up for failure. So when I loosened the reins, put less restrictions, gave myself more abundance and opportunity, and I stopped being so tight with myself, I was actually able to lose the weight and keep it off. And that was completely the antithesis to my lower brain. My lower brain would grab the calendar, plan out where we would be weight-wise by a certain date if we followed this set of rules. Like, it was very regimented. And I had to stop and say, no, I hear you. This has never worked. I am not doing this, because every time I listened to you, and again, I didn't understand lower brain, higher brain, I just knew the voice. I knew the voice. I knew what the voice said. I knew how restrictive it would be and how punishing it would be. And it was because it wanted me to make progress. But I never made progress. It was a false situation the whole way around. Inevitably, by that day or within that week, I was going to be binging and eating all the food again anyway. So why ever go down that road? So when I chose to ignore the lower brain voice and say, yes, I do want to lose weight. Yes, I do want healthy habits, but I'm not doing this big grandiose buildup of cleaning out my pantry, buying a bunch of food, choosing to be super restrictive, choosing not to have treats, choosing to cut out entire food groups. I'm not doing this. When I said that, then I was successful. But I had to use my prefrontal cortex and really analyze my past and say, this seems so familiar. I feel as though I've done this a gajillion times. And it's a slippery slope, because it all sounds like, in the moment, it sounds like it makes sense. If you ate 1,200 calories a day and you gave up treats for just 6 months, you'd be at your goal. Imagine it. Imagine how great that would feel. Cut to, I ate 1,200 calories by lunch and I'm binging on my next 1,200 calories after the fact, because that I felt super restricted, right? And so a lot of times, again, our lower brain is trying to protect us. It knows our very sensitive spots. It has good intentions. However, the execution is horrible. It is absolutely not what we would recommend if we were coaching together, okay? So what I want you to do is just be aware of this. Come January, you'll probably see a lot of things that are going to trigger that lower brain to be super chatty. When you are getting ready for a wedding, anniversary, high school reunion, super chatty. Whenever there's a typical situation, picture pops up on Facebook, that's a big one, right? A lot of people see pictures. Just know what's probably going to happen. You're going to hear this voice kicking in about, hey, maybe we should go on a diet. Maybe we should lose so much weight. Hey, I heard this one diet's really successful. How about we do this, this, and this? It should get us quick results. Stop and talk about it out loud. Wait a minute, have I done this before? And if so, how did it go? And if I don't want to go that direction, what would be the opposite of that? And that's kind of the question I started asking myself. What would be the opposite of what I normally do? One, I wouldn't plan out my weight loss. Two, meaning my pounds per week. Two, I wouldn't do something super restrictive that cut out my desserts and cut out foods I enjoy. Three, I would focus on my habits, not my outcomes. So really kind of just go through that and question it, and analyze it from a different perspective. Talk it out and actually go back through your past, but don't allow yourself to get blindly sucked into that direction. All right, guys, I hope these videos are helping. How my thinking leads to eating, learning more about your lower brain, higher brain, how it all plays out. And if you have any questions or thoughts, or you want some extra help on a certain subject, just let me know in the comments, and I will try to see if I can get a video put together to help out. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.